Oh, good evening and welcome to Success in the City. I've lost it already.
Okay.
My name's Helen Webster and I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and we have an amazing guest today.
My name's Anthony.
Welcome, Anthony. Thank you so much for giving us your time today, and we'll find out loads about Anthony as we go along in the show. But first, we shout out to the kids. Any kids who've done amazing things this week. Stan, have you got any little people or anything that you want to shout out to?
No, I haven't got any little people this week, which isn't like me. But no, I haven't. But my son's girlfriend, who isn't a little person, she's 23. She's staying with us from Italy, and she's just an absolute dream. And it's like having a little doll in the house, so I'm delighted.
Oh, lovely.
Loads.
Amazing. Anthony, any young people?
I have, yeah. I'm going to keep her in the house. So I've got my little niece, Chloe. So she's amazing. She's just started college. She's doing cookery in college. So we've had the photographs doing the rounds on the WhatsApp with all of the chef and gear on and all that, looking very proud.
Oh. And does she bring the stuff home to eat?
Yeah, she was doing it anyway before she went to college. So yeah, I had some nice cookies the other day and what have you. So yeah, she's good.
Oh, they're the best benefits, aren't they? If somebody being able to cook, you just get to eat it. Amazing. Love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a little shout out today. So he was our very, very first guest on week 1 of our show, is Football with Ben. And Ben, so another past guest of ours, John Gibbons from the Anfield Wrap, said that Ben could go in. So Ben and I went into the Anfield Wrap today and we watched how they created the video, which was a live YouTube video, and we sat and watched that. And then we went into the recording studio and John interviewed Ben, but Ben didn't know he was going to be interviewed. So he's interviewed him for the podcast. And he did like a little 10-minute. And so Ben, was sort of thrown on the spot and he just handled it amazing. And Gibbo gave him a t-shirt and stuff. So it was just a boss little morning for an hour.
Fabulous.
Yeah. It was amazing. So massive shout out to Ben. So well done to Ben. Yeah. So successes this week for you, San. What success for this week is you?
Well, I've had a few successes, to say the least. Trivial as usual, but okay. So I like to have a pumpkin out for Halloween because, as you know, I spent the first 7.5 years of my life more or less in Canada. So came to it obsessed with Halloween and was horrified to find out that duck apple was all that happened in the 70s. So I'm ecstatic now because all the kids come round and they didn't really do that much where I lived over the water. So I'm very happy and I'm hoping all the kids are going to knock on Sunday and I'll give them sweets. And Ronan and his girlfriend carved 3 amazing pumpkins. So I'm made up. So I put them on the path with candles in and I'm delighted. I hope it doesn't rain. And I'll have some sweets and things ready. But I haven't got much in the way of decorations. That's the only thing. But hopefully the pumpkins will let them know that they'll come for sweets. That was cool. Bit of a sad thing. I went to I used to go to Penny for my hair done, and I've been for like 20 years. And I went to somewhere new today because she's over the water and it's a pain for me to get there.
Yeah.
Work. So I went and I was off today. So I went to a new hairdresser's, which was ace. And we had a great time and they're just hilarious. And the girl who did my hair, she used to fly as well. So we just howled laughing the whole time, Bernadette. And at Tranquility Spa, which is in Williamson Street, just between Church Street and Richmond Street. It's next to the Richmond pub. So it was just ace. And I had a lovely morning there. So thank you to them. Because it's a big thing finding new hairdressers. So that was good. And just a few little bits and bobs going on really business-wise too. So some cool stuff happening at the minute. And watch this space.
Brilliant. Loving that. Anthony, what amazing things have happened to you this week?
From a professional point of view, work-wise, we've just started a nice job actually on the Playhouse Theatre in town. So that's quite good. Fireman Sam's on Friday, so I'm hoping to get it. Well, I don't know if I will. Rachel, my missus, we've got a little 3-year-old and a 3-month-old as well, but they're looking to go Friday, so I said he better have his Fireman Sam better have his ladders because my leg might end up through the ceiling of the theatre.
How boss is that?
Yeah, we're working on the theatre, so that's cool. Loads of challenges, working around what they've got going on in the daytime and stuff like that. They have afternoon performances, so that's that. I went swimming again this week, so on a personal level, we got like I take my little lad swimming. Well, I'm supposed to take my lad swimming every week, and I haven't been able to go the last few weeks because of work, which is crap. But yeah, I have to get there this week, so that's like my little win this week.
Oh, brilliant!
Brilliant! I love that. God, I don't know when the last time I went swimming.
What about you, Helen?
So we had a great day yesterday in Triple C, which is the church. There's 3 churches, and they did a food. They do food pantry. So food pantry where you can go and collect your food and stuff. And then we did fun activities for the kids. And it was amazing because we had about 40 kids all day. So they were brilliant and it was really good. And there was loads of them. And it was a lovely day, wasn't it? So we played outside for the whole of the day. And then today we've been to Penny Lane Development Trust, which is a lovely little community centre in Penny Lane. And there was loads of kids there as well today, so that was brilliant. So it's just nice being outside and playing with them.
Well, you've reminded me of something which was terrible. I forgot to say yesterday, thanks to yourself. I gave a talk to the Haymans Grange Ladies Club. And what an interesting bunch of people they were, quite diverse, and it was lovely. And actually, that'll bring me to my embarrassing moment, my red face later on in the month, in the show. But that went very well anyway, so it was cool. Yeah,
brilliant.
So talk to them, and that was that.
Amazing, boss. So I've left my little piece of paper. I've done it the wrong way around now. There we go. So we're going to play this or that.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to play this or that. Okay. Am I going to go first, San, or you?
No, I will, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anthony, Vietnam or Wales?
Oh, Wales. Wales.
Okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I know. I've never been to Vietnam, and Vietnam is on my list. But I do love Wales as well. But
it's more achievable, isn't it? You can go to Wales every weekend.
Yeah, but I'd love to go to Vietnam. What about you, Sam?
Wales is handy. It is lovely and it's gorgeous. But I love, I think, completely different cultures and different cultural experiences. They give you a head workout and you're just taking, it's what it does to your mind that I like. You have such a different experience. And I know when you get your weather, it's nice in Wales, but let's face it, it's easier to get a tan in Vietnam, which is a bit superficial, but there we go.
Okay.
But I love Wales.
Anthony, Strictly Come Dancing, ballroom or Latin dancing?
I think Latin. All about the Latin, yeah.
Yeah, all about the Latin. What about you, San?
Say it again. What did you say? Strictly Come Dancing or?
So Strictly Come Dancing, do you prefer the ballroom side of dance or the Latin side of dance?
Oh, Latin 100%, because it's lively and Hispanic. What more do you want?
So I'm ballroom 1,000,000% because I want to do the quick step with Anton Dubek. Yeah, or the American Smooth. Just put it out there, Anton, if you're listening.
Well,
it's like more like strict, isn't it? And I just don't imagine you being like confined by the.
I know, and I love, but no, I think I'd love to be able to just to do the quick step. Is like me dream with Anton Dubek. When I'm a millionaire, that's what I'm going to do, dance with him.
For Helen's Prezi last year for the birthday, I got a ticket to go to see Anton Dubek and go at the Philharmonic, right? And it got postponed because it was meant to be last February. So it's actually this February coming now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm anxious that Helen's going to hijack him on the stage to do. But you've seen him before, haven't you? So you.
Oh yeah, like I'm glued to him. Yeah. I love him. Yeah. I know.
Have you done any of the charity?
No, I haven't, and that's why I threw that in, Mr. Clown, jiving away. Yeah. No, I haven't, but it is on my list.
I do it for the exercise. Imagine the poor person who got me.
Go on, San, your next one.
I have no memory of anything like that. Okay. Spanish or Italian?
Ooh.
Spanish, I think. I lived in Spain for a couple of years. Don't test me, please, on my Spanish, Sandra, because I was 18 and I was drinking all night and sleeping all day. So
where did you live in Spain, Anthony? Because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I lived on the south coast, so we lived in between Benalmádena and Torremolinos. We lived in a couple of places actually, but my uncle had a couple of bars over there, so I used to go and work there and come home in the winter. So yeah.
Oh, amazing! How boss is that?
To do as a young
like
person.
18 running a bar in Spain. It was yeah.
Living the dream. Living the dream. And I'd go Spanish as well, just because we've done a bit more Spanish than Italian. But I do love Italy as well. But I'd go Spanish. What about you, San?
Oh, I can't ever say affiliation to a language, Helen.
Well, I'm just saying that you've been everywhere else with your groups, but not to Spain. Just saying.
No, I love Spain. I love Madrid. I like Spain though. I'm not like the holiday resorts. I like proper Spain. But I love Italy. I've been all over Italy, haven't I? Everywhere in Italy. I haven't been to as many places as Spain. I can't choose.
Okay.
Maybe Spanish if it was food.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm the other way. If it was food, I think Italian.
Well, do you know what I did? I actually didn't specify. I said Spanish or Italian. I'll see what comes back here.
With language, I was thinking Spain because there's South America and all kinds, and I think it was more, if it was to learn a language and throw myself into it, I think Spanish, but I think for food, definitely Italian.
I think culture, well, I would have said Italian, but I'm gluten-free and it's an absolute pain now. But South America and Spain, for the culture, I love, and it's really interesting and diverse. Italian, if you're getting right round to the nitty-gritty, the Italian language is just beautiful and fascinating and gorgeous and poetic. So divided. There we go.
Okay, amazing. Okay, Anthony, vegan or vegetarian?
I'm going to upset a few vegans now, considering I had a vegan venue. I think a plant-based diet, so that's kind of. I think vegan is a bit of a trigger for a lot of people, and I think it puts people in the wrong frame of mind about what eating sustainably is. So I think being plant-based, I'm going to sit on the fence and go right in the middle of the two, because being vegan, you can't have a belt, you can't wear, leather shoes, or there's a lot of, and everybody's interpretation of what a vegan is it's all very dogmatic sometimes for some people. So I think plant-based is a nice way to say, just eat plants, mate. It's much better for the planet. Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
So I'd say vegan with leather shoes and a handbag, sorry. But that's more about, so I have, like, I wouldn't eat meat. I don't eat meat so much. I still eat fish, but I don't eat meat. And that is because about beef and the planet. But I did it for health reasons more so. And milk and things like that. So if I feel it in my joints the next morning. And when I don't have dairy and stuff, I just feel much better. And meat. So when I have a vegan diet all the time, I feel much, much better. I tried it in January just to see how it went, and it was just brilliant. And when I don't feel so healthy, I think, right, I need to jump back on that now. And I love it now. Once you get into it, you can make the nicest food and you feel better for eating it as well. So, but I hadn't thought about the whole vegan thing, not having shoes and handbags and stuff, till you mentioned it then. So thanks for that.
No, I did. So when I went plant-based, and then I thought, vegan-y plant-based sort of thing. And then I did a course on vegan and vegan cooking. And so it was online. It was during lockdown. And I thought, I'll do that, and it was all about the food and stuff, which was brilliant. And then they said, if you want to be a vegan, go downstairs and throw your leather couch out and throw everything leather. And I was like, I thought, I'll just be a bit plant-based because I'm a proper shoes as well. But I did buy a pair of vegan Kate Geigs.
Yeah, some people just need to relax a little bit. And
so I was like, that was a bit dramatic, I thought. So I thought I quite like the plant-based. And if I did go somewhere and somebody happened to put milk in my tea, then I'd probably drink it just out of I wouldn't be like, I'm not having that because, I only drink this.
I went somewhere and they made me a roast, I'd eat that.
Well, from a personal point of view, I probably wouldn't, if there was meat going to waste, I probably wouldn't eat it, because from a health point of view, I don't think I want to put it in my body anymore. But I've got pals who are far more sustainable than any vegan I've ever met.
Yeah.
Who will go out and he will pick roadkill off the side of the road and he'll cook it and eat it. Or, because he's just kind of like...
Because it's more about waste, isn't it? Yeah.
Waste, and that animal has died, and it's a gift. I don't think I'm in that camp, but I think people kind of love the label that much that they make stupid decisions. And
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Weird. And it's just
yeah. Go on, Stan.
Okay. Seeing as you've got youngsters now, Disney or horror films, and I don't mean Disney horror films.
See, I don't like horror films, not because I'm scared of them. I just think they're very predictable. And my little boy is going through some crazy night terrors at the minute, so we definitely won't put horror films on at the minute. So I think Disney's all right. I've never been to Disney though, much to me better half's horror. She went to Disney World and all that years ago, and I've never been as a kid, so I've not got the whole Disney magic down. But I definitely would prefer to a horror film. I think the animation stuff is quite cool, like the new stuff.
Yeah, 100% Disney. I had the same conversation today. I said, I don't mind horror. Years ago, horror used to be a little bit spooky. Now it's like, how gory can we be? And I think, there's just no need for it. And Disney always leaves you with like a little warm squeeze, doesn't it? So Disney for me. What about you, Sam?
Tissues gone, sobbing your heart out. Well, I'm very excited because we're going to watch Coco in Spanish.
Coco's amazing.
Ronan's girl's multilingual. So she said, we'll watch it in Spanish. And Ronan did, and he went, like that. So I was made up because I haven't seen it. Because it's all about Dia de los Muertos and everything, in Mexico. So I'm quite happy.
It's very, very good, and it's got great music in it.
Brilliant.
Okay. Firewalk or skydive, Anthony?
I think skydive. Skydive before, but then I've done the firewalk now. So I've done firewalk last week. So, but I'd always wanted to do a skydive. My little sister actually done one for her 18th birthday. She's a maniac. She done one as soon as she was allowed. Or it might have even been 16. I don't know. She was young anyway.
Wow.
She put me to shame. She's went and done it. She just seized the day and went and done a skydive. But
brilliant.
I'd like to do one.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
Firewalk, because you're not meant to jump out of aircraft unless you're on fire.
So firewalk for me as well. I'd love to do a skydive, but I'd have to be strapped to somebody and they'd have to push me out because my left leg would go. But apart from that,
Imagine the humiliation when you wet yourself on the man's leg or something like that. Or worse.
Anyway, moving on. What the hell? So Anthony's with us tonight. San, I'm going to let you introduce Anthony, and then we'll hand it over to Anthony once you can breathe again.
Okay, so I'm absolutely made up that you're here with us this evening, Anthony, because you're a really inspirational person, and we've both known you for some time now through business. And I'm hoping you're going to speak about your role and how you got into business, and then what you've done to give back to the people who maybe supported you in the first instance, and then how it took a turn for you and what you've set up in the north end of the city and where you're going with that and what your ethos is about that, because it's brilliant, and all the amount of stuff you do for charity through that, etc., and individually. If you would, so welcome to the fabulous Anthony Stroud.
Thanks very much. I am a little bit of a scally from Iton, as I probably would have been described when I was younger. And I was always in and out of jobs and construction and bar work and all that type of stuff. And I was just kind of Mr. Content with not a lot really. And that was kind of my life. I had a good family and all that type of stuff, so I had a great life. But then I had probably no motivation, definitely not for business. Somebody told me to just nibble on to the Prince's Trust, and I move on to me kind of relationship with the trust, but it really made me think about what my life was before, and even though it was great and I thought it was great, I didn't have a lot of motivation for anything more, and I can really credit the trust with kind of giving me a little bit of a rock up the backside and making me strive for a little bit better. So I went along to the trust off a friend's kind of advice, and he basically went on the 4-day enterprise course, which is the business course. And I've always been in construction, worked with my family and everything else, and in and out of jobs, and I'm really good at, with my hands and various different jobs I've done. And I started a roofing company just like that. It was weird. I didn't drive until my mid to late 20s, and I passed my test and approached the trust and started a business all within like a couple of months, and it was mental. It was like 10 years ago now, but it was the maddest. Like the first 3 years of being affiliated to the trust was crazy, and I threw myself into the trust side of things, probably to the detriment of my time. And I said yeah to everything with the trust because I was grateful for like what I'd got from them, really. And the money was fine, but it wasn't that. It was the support, and you get a mentor, and the mentor has been instrumental in my business and my growth and everything. It's just been fantastic. I couldn't recommend it enough. So yeah, I went along to I got in touch with my mentor regularly because that's what they do. They keep in touch with you, and they basically put me forward for the Enterprise Award, which was like their awards that they do every year. And I won the Northwest regional, so because I was like the best business in the Northwest the year I'd done it. And then I went through to the national final. So I was at the Palladium in London. Took my mum and dad. It was a proper red carpet thing. It was Pride of Britain. It was insane. There was Jerry Halliwell and David Hay and everyone all on the red carpet, and we were the businesses were the stars of the show. It was fantastic, and it was like you get in there, we're sitting at the front, and there's Anthony Decker hosting it, and Prince Charles is on stage. It was just bonkers. Yeah, it was fantastic. So I come second in that or something like that. I didn't win the national, but it was just amazing. I was really proud of that, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And for that time in my life, it was like I was on the crest of a massive wave, and where it was fantastic. The business was doing great, and then I become a young ambassador for the trust. So essentially, my job, because I talk behind like a donkey, my job become going to speak to business owners and people who potentially could have had deep pockets and supported the trust. So I'd go to dinner talks, award shows, things like that, or even just to like go and work the room at big events, and they have like a person walking around introducing me to all millionaires and whatever else, and I just have to tell them about my story, really, which was kind of what I'm telling you right now, and hopefully that makes them see the value in the trust and put their hand in the pocket. So yeah, it was cool. It was fantastic. Spoke at the House of Lords, Buckingham Palace garden party. The second time I bumped into, I seen Prince Charles at the garden party, and he like made a beeline for me. He was like, "I know you, don't I?" I was like, "Yes."
Wow.
It was just a wacky period in my life where it was like, yeah, I'll never forget it. But yeah, you kind of, when you're in it, you want to celebrate, yeah, and it's great, and you flavour of the month, and it's fantastic. But then there's a natural progression. There's new guys coming through. They deserve the spotlight as well. So you just move on into another role. Which was then like I went into a little bit of a mentor thing where I do the inspirational talks and try and just give a little back to the new businesses coming through. So yeah, the trust was fantastic.
And are you still part of the trust now?
I get a phone call every now and again to just see if I want to go and do a talk. I was meant to do the mentor role, and I did get a couple of kids through who unfortunately didn't. One of the big problems with the trust is they have kids come through who get the money and run, which is a bit silly, really. And they don't see the value in sticking around and talking to the mentor. So I got a couple sent through to me. I'd done the mentors course, the training course, and I had a couple sent through, but they never ever answered the phone or got in touch.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, it is really, because I really could say that without my mentor, I wouldn't be.
And it's interesting what you're saying, because I was tagged in something today, which was a big surprise, and someone said it said tag a mentor, someone who's helped you, and I was like, what's this? And it's actually Mentors Day today, National Mentors Day, which it was all over LinkedIn, and I hadn't realised, but I just got this notification, and I think everyone should have a mentor. That's what they say, shouldn't they? You should mentor people, but you should have a mentor. And it's about helping people on the way. And I think, I'm always saying this on here, the business community here in Merseyside, we all help each other massively. And if you've got a problem and you talk to someone else in business, it doesn't matter if their business is the opposite of yours, the same issues come up, right?
Yeah.
And the value of a mentor, no one knows it all. You do need support, you do need clarity. So that's a real shame, isn't it? Because you've got so much experience to offer them in that.
Well, I think the businesses that are in touch with their mentor, they ran the numbers. It's not like it's not a waste of time. The businesses that stay in touch with their mentors are the ones that last and the ones that survive. They are. It's just a fact. You know, you can't do it all on your own, and the mentor's not there to tell you how to do your job. But it's like, even if it's just somebody to listen, you know, bounce a few ideas off. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to give them all these pearls of wisdom that will kind of change their life and their business. It's just having somebody who can bounce things off, and most people don't get that, especially when you're stuck in the day to day, especially with trades, which is what I was all about. And the kids who got to be, it was like plasterers and things. It was like just make a little bit of time. I know it's hard because I've been there, but just give us an hour, come and see me for a cup of coffee. Yeah, a bit of a shame, but hopefully I'll pick back up again and get another couple in. So
yeah, definitely, yeah. So moving on from your Prince's Trust and stuff like that, what's the next step along our journey? Where did you go then? So
as a business, we were absolutely killing it. We like doubled our turnover 3 or 4 years in a row. You know, turning over £1 million before COVID, and 20 odd guys working for us. We had a couple of national contracts, so we were up and down. We had vans going up to, you know, Aberdeen and right down to Plymouth. It was fun. It was good stuff. We had, from a professional point of view, we were doing all the right things, and, you know, investing in the business, and it was all kind of heading in the right direction. And then we went and got pregnant. We've got a 3-year-old little boy now. So when we got pregnant with Louis, it's kind of like, I didn't fall out of love with business and with my business, because I still love it. But it was like, everybody, I always tell everybody, this is like my favourite little saying that I tell people. Everybody else, people get a midlife crisis and buy a sports car. When we got pregnant with my little boy, my midlife crisis was thinking that the world was going to explode, and my little boy wouldn't have a future and things. So my midlife crisis was buy a vegan, veggie, caffeine, zero waste store, all that type of stuff. So I went from like one extreme to the other. I was like business, professional growth, and then overnight I just went, ooh, I don't really know if that's me anymore. I've got little boys that the world I want me to grow up, to see me grow up in. And I just thought, and I kind of put all kind of my time, and the business was running anyway, so I had good people involved who could help out and stuff, and keep things in the place where we were. But I just totally prioritised the other side of things, which was Little World, which was I wasn't going to change the world, and I wasn't fooling myself when my little boy was born. But I wanted to change my little world, and that's what the thinking was. It was kind of like, I wanted a space where my family could be all together, even if I'm working. You know, my missus could bring the kids, and we could have it. It was just all about a bit more of a wholesome life, and the lessons I wanted to teach my kids and stuff like that. So that's what Little World was, and you know what, I love it. It was amazing. It still is amazing. I've took a little bit of a step back in Little World, so I've got 2 friends, 2 of my best friends actually in the world who run it, and they kind of we had crazy stuff with lockdown, and you know all the hospitality industry. It was just decimated a little bit really, and we never really had it in us to reopen again. So my friends have picked the baton up, and they're running with it. So they're doing some cool stuff, the firewalks and all that. So.
It's quite, Little World is one of those things, when you know where it is, you know where it is. But when you're looking for it, you can drive past it 3 times on 3 separate occasions, Anthony. So explain to people where it is and what sign to look out for to take. Okay.
So you're coming down Dunningsbridge Road from the centre towards Switch Island. You go past the Park Hotel.
Yeah.
On the left-hand, same side of the Park Hotel, it's about 100 yards past. If you get to Switch Island, you've gone too far, so you will be back on the dual carriageway doing a U-turn. So, yeah, it's about 100 yards past the Park Hotel, and like it's just by Joseph Tars, the building merchant. So it's actually in an industrial area. So we had the building anyway for the construction side of things.
Nice.
We've got our workshop there, so we build all the pods there. So we've got Posh Pods as well, which is the other company. Yeah. So we've got that's our kind of showroom. We've got a couple of pods on the car park and the workshop, and then it was an amazing space. It's like a big glazed front, so it's got like these big full length windows, it's a mezzanine with like a vaulted ceiling and stuff. And I when we got the keys to the place, I was standing there and just like, this cannot be just part of the office or a sales room, or it just couldn't be. And it just snowballed. It was meant to be coffee and cakes and whatever else, and it just ended up being a full zero waste store and full vegan menu. And
so, what sort of stuff happens in Little World? So, I know that people that can go and buy food and they can take their own containers, and you know, and it is a cafe as well, isn't it? You know, so tell us all about what Little World does.
So, what it did do pre-COVID is not the same as what it does do now. So, essentially, it was built around the premise of reducing plastic. So, disposable, zero waste, single-use plastic is a massive problem. So, going to the supermarket and buying things, and then the things you look at your recycle bin, because even recycling, right, is not, it's not really the answer, because a lot of it goes on boats to Indonesia, and they don't really recycle. A lot of it just gets taken somewhere else, someone else's problem.
Yeah.
We've seen it in Bali. We were on the beach in Bali, and there was loads of trash on the beach, and some of it's English rubbish. You know, you look at it and you're like, you at the time it was like quite ignorantly thought, oh, this is like a local problem, local people, and you dig around in it, and it's English bloody trash on the beach in the other side of the world. So it was all about that really, and reducing our impact on the world and our waste, the waste we produce to live our life. So it was all, so basically people brought containers. We had bulk containers on the wall with rice, pasta, oats, spices, everything, or mainly dry foods, and people could bring their own containers, weigh the container, fill it up, and then bring it back, and it deducts the weight of the container, so you're only paying for what you put on the pot. So it's fantastic. There's loads of them about, but COVID has made it a bit of a minefield, really, touching machines, contamination. So we've kind of had to shelve it, which is a bit of a shame. So the first lockdown, when that come, we transformed everything into like a delivery service, and we were doing like over 100 deliveries a week. We were getting food out to people. People couldn't get to supermarkets, and we were getting all other independents involved. We had people baking bread and bagels and cakes, and we were like a hub for other businesses. So people were bringing all the products to us, and we had a platform where we were like basically had a full zero waste delivery service. We were cooking meals and freezing them and everything else. So we were doing all that during lockdown. But then after lockdown lifted, we kind of unfortunately had to put our energy a little bit into the construction stuff, which is the boring side of my life, and it kills me to do it, but it's what pays the bills and what keeps the roof over Little World. So I've got a couple of amazing friends to come in. They've changed things slightly. They're doing more events. They're open Thursday to Sunday at the moment. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks they'll be open 7 days again. But it's all similar stuff. So brunch, breakfast options, and but they're doing some cool stuff events wise. They do music night every Friday. They do a car boot boogie, which is like a DJ on the car park, and like 10, 15 independent vendors all on the car park. So it's like a car boot sale, but nobody's old golf clubs are getting sold, and nobody's old jumpers with holes in. It's not that. It's like a car boot sale, but with cool handmade stuff from local independents.
Oh, that's a bit cool.
Everybody's got their boots open and their little gazebo up, but it's all like amazing products. And then there's a DJ playing boss tunes, and then you can have a beer. It's a licensed venue, so you can have a beer or a cocktail. Yeah. So it's just something a little bit different, especially in Bootle where we are. There's no cool stuff there. It's like everything's down. So, and we've got parking. It's just a posh place to have a cool event.
And you did something dead cool last Saturday, last Sunday, when you did the firewalk?
Yeah, Saturday. So that was, I'm you're saying this like I'm claiming credit for this, and I can't claim any credit for it. So my friend Sarah, who's taken over, she's amazing. She's got a family member, Nathaniel, young boy, who's got a medical condition, and it's all part of the Charlie Gard Foundation and that charity. So it's all centered around that. So she set up a charity firewalk in aid of the Charlie Gard Foundation. So, and it helps Nathaniel with the medication that he needs to keep him healthy. So essentially, there was probably over 100 people all on the car park of a cafe in Bootle, all doing a firewalk. And same again, there was a DJ on, and everybody's having a beer. It was brilliant, yeah.
And you raised loads of money for that, didn't you?
Yeah, they haven't even got the figures yet, but they're still counting it. Basically, the money's still coming in, but it'll be thousands. Like it really was thousands of pounds. Like
which is brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
Defo, yeah. So we've got the cafe and we've got the roofing and stuff like that, and you've got your little people. So what's happening next? What's the next stage?
Yeah, so the baby number 2 brought on life change number 2. So not as simple as that, but I've been over the last, my kind of way I've wanted to live my life's been over the last 3 years since I had my little boy, has been slowly moving in the same direction. It's all been about and when you talk about success in the city and what is success for me, and I just think earning good money and building a big business and a brand and something that doesn't make me proud anymore. I like it, and I'm proud of my achievements that I've done in the past, but the person who I am now, that doesn't really give me any fulfillment, those things anymore. So we're in the process of basically moving to a massive piece of land in Scotland and selling some of the shares in the business and working from up there. And essentially, it's like a couple of decommissioned reservoirs in Scotland, and it's got a cottage and everything else. So so we're basically off and leaving you. But I'm still going to be a shareholder in the business.
Get him off the show, Helen.
No, that's a massive success. So you're going like proper self-sustained and
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. So
are you going to have a goat?
I'm definitely having a goat. I want to scream and goat. If it doesn't scream, I'm going to take it back and get another one. I want to scream and goat, or a goat that does parkour. I sit and watch goat videos all the time. I love goats. So yeah, we're getting goats definitely.
Random, okay. And do you have like solar panels and so will you get your own energy and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So it's quite cool actually. There's 2 locks there. Decommissioned. It's a decommissioned reservoir, and there's one that's 200 foot above sea level, higher than the other one. So the top one is the bottom one. So the rain from the mountain in the back, there's a mountain in the background, comes down.
Oh my God, Anthony!
And then that feeds the bottom lock. So we can. Well, the hope is eventually we'll be able to attach hydropower to the top lock. So when the water's flowing from the top one to the bottom one, it's generating our own power. So we could. Not easily, but it's dead feasible to be totally off grid. Like
this would be my dream, Anthony, not to have to buy gas or electricity, to be able to live and food.
So Terry May's listening in, and Terry May says is right, and so nice one to Terry May. So now Terry knows. So who's going to move to this place?
So me and Rachel and the 2 kids are going up, and my mum and dad are actually moving to Scotland with us. Probably going to stay with us for a while, and then maybe they're looking at a piece of land themselves to build something on. So, yeah.
What part of Scotland, Anthony?
It's only 3 hours away. It's just south of Glasgow and Edinburgh. It's a place called Biggar.
Oh yeah.
So is it going to be a bit like, because you're into roofing and construction and all that? Is it going to be a bit of a grand designs project? Have you mapped it all out? Have you done it yourself?
Yeah and no, really. So I'm a bit of a I don't know, what do you call it? I think the construction industry, and one of the reasons why it's a little bit uneasy for me is because of the environmental stuff that I kind of want to live by. Construction is massive and a massive problem. So yeah, the whole big glass and steel and concrete monoliths that you see on Grand Designs are a bit of a problem, really. And I think we're going to be going to have a little bit of a simpler life. We will probably have to do a little bit of work on the property that we're buying, but it'll be more of a slowing down rather than let's go and do. Because I think you get wrapped up in the wanting, don't you? And I did really, really want this house, and I do, and I want to move up there, and I want that new life. But when I get there, I don't want to get there and go, I really want a nice shiny new extension. So I think that's kind of really what I'm pulling myself away from as the years go by and as my kind of personal development goes.
And as you get older, you realise those things, labels and things like that, they just don't matter at all. They're just people think that makes you happier. It doesn't. It's how you live your life. And you mentioned your own food. So you're going to grow all your own food?
Yeah, so definitely. So I'm going to be, I went on a course in January to do. It's called agroforestry. It's basically a sustainable farming method. Basically creating a food forest, something that doesn't need any physical inputs after a while, or very little physical inputs. So when you're growing vegetables traditionally, which I will still do because I love annual vegetables as well. When you grow annual vegetables, you get a seed, you propagate the seed, then you put it in a bigger container, and then maybe a bigger one, and then you're putting it in the ground, and then you're weeding it, you're making sure the pests don't get at it. Then you're harvesting it. That's a lot of work. So it's like some annual crops are amazing. So I'll probably still do a little bit of that. But what I'm aiming to do long term is create a full diverse growing system of perennial cropping plants that basically, once established, look after themselves. So the strength of the system is its diversity. So you're not basically growing one or two crops, which is what most farms do. So you get 10 acres and they grow 10 acres of wheat or 10 acres of corn, and they spray it full of crap, so it doesn't, so the pests don't get in. Because if it's not very interesting, if it's not very diverse, the pests will soon get in there and figure out. So whatever wants to eat, that'll figure out how to get in, because there's not. But you have to spray it with crap to stop it, and that's what we're eating. With a diverse system in agroforestry, essentially, the strength of the system attracts the diversity in the system attracts predators as well as pests. So the more diverse your system, the pests wouldn't get a grip of anything that you've got growing there, because the predators will come in and see to them, sure enough. So it's like it's about you mimicking what happens in a woodland environment essentially, and making it work for you, so you don't have to really. I'm a little bit lazy.
My perfect type of gardening, where it just does it itself, and you just have to eat what you grow.
You're creating a foraging environment, so everything there, it just comes every year, and you just might have to do a little bit of minimal weeding. And adding things and taking things out that don't work and everything else. But yeah, it's quite.
And Anthony, you're a man after my own heart, because I acquired an allotment earlier this year.
I was going to say, pity you didn't know about that, Sam, before you got the allotment.
Yeah, I don't have no, they wouldn't have had it. It had to be perfect. It was like something from a manicured garden who come round with the clipboards. Saint Bev Hogan, as I call it, she's doing it every day now. She's amazing. But I was horrified at how much, so even like to grow your sunflowers, stuff like that, I was horrified at just how much water, what you're saying makes massive. And I was thinking, it makes massive sense to me, because I was thinking, I'm driving from there to water them, coming back. And I thought, this is defeating the whole object of what my ethos was. And I've got like a garden space now, so I've got tubs and things. But so there's loads of fruits and berries, okay, that are self-sustaining and they go each year. Which type of vegetables do that? What veg can you grow that way? Or are they more pulses? Or
asparagus is a perennial, so asparagus comes back year on year. It's a bit of a bug to establish asparagus. You got to have, it's like really sandy conditions and things. It's maybe not practical for people to grow it in the gardens, but like rhubarb is. If you like rhubarb's a dead practical perennial. There's a couple of tubers as well, which are similar to potatoes, that are kind of perennials, and potatoes as well. Actually, I've got potatoes in my raised beds that are last year's potatoes, and I just missed a few. It was shockingly perennial. I took my potatoes out last year, and then I put a couple of other shrubs in, and then this year my potatoes are back, and I'm like, I'm gonna do my blueberries in that. So yeah, it's just kind of, some things will kind of come. Nature will find its way if you set the system up right. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what forestry is all about.
Oh, I'm loving that. That must be like super interesting. So I've watched Liz, Tom, who was on last week, his mum had watched the David Attenborough and Prince William thing on the telly, and it's they're giving a prize out, aren't they, at the end of the 6 weeks. I've only watched the first one, but it was a bit about saying, like, the forest, it needs this and it needs that, and if you leave it, it'll just carry on growing and it'll go back to what it needs to be. And it's a bit like what you're sort of explaining. You think that's like a dead cool thing, isn't it? If people aren't involved, it just sort of does what it's supposed to do, and then people get involved and cause chaos, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, even like brownfield sites and like if you drive past something that's a concrete derelict wasteland that was maybe they've knocked the factory down, and then you look at it over the next. So actually, that seamlessly onto my next subject, which I'll talk about in a minute. nature will basically turn that round in its own way. So it'll take time, but it will. And some of the things that you look and go, bloody hell, look at that load of weeds. But then weeds are doing a job. They're breaking up the subsoil and everything there. You don't, and they're the only things that'll survive in that environment. Then in 10 years' time, that environment's changed because the weeds have done the job on the soil and the compaction's gone and everything else. So yeah, nature's fantastic, and we're just be idiots for ruining it. But once we're gone, it'll be right back to a thriving, amazing place. You know what I mean? So,
how interesting. So
yeah. So the thing that I should have well brought up by now is Grow Sefton. So off the back of Little World, we've got around the back of where Little World is. There's 6 acres of forgotten about land essentially, and it's owned by Sefton Council. It took us a while to get to the bottom of who owned it and how we were going to get our hands on it, but it looks like we are. So we've set up Grow Sefton. You'll find us on Facebook. And it kind of tells you what we're all about. We're not doing much at the moment because we're still waiting for a lease, but essentially there's a CIC there formed, and it's going to be all about growing produce, growing local communities, growing sustainable living and everything else in and around our community. So it's basically a forgotten piece of land. It was ex-allotment land, and it's now a woodland. 30 years later, it's just a woodland all on its own. Nobody's touched it. It's just happened, and it's kind of like when we found out the history that it was just an allotment 30 years ago. And we've seen aerial shots over the 10, 20, and 30 years. Fantastic to show you what nature can just do on its own. We've got a few issues on there, flooding and whatever else, but it's it's fun and games.
Are you going to take it back to allotments? Sorry, Sanny, are you going to take it back to allotments, or are you going to just let people sort of do little bits and pieces?
It's basically we haven't got until we can open, until we've got a lease. It's a community project for the community. So a lot of the things that a lot of the provisions and a lot of the things we'll do will be community led effectively. So we'll be getting a membership. And we'll be basically letting the community form a lot of the stuff that we do on site. So it's about we're kind of going to hopefully be custodians of the land essentially, just to begin with. And we've been in there doing some work in there, clearing pathways, and I haven't been doing an awful lot of it. We've got a couple of guys one guy in particular who's amazing, and he's been just absolute force behind it all. But yeah, we'll be doing some growing. It won't. We don't really know is the answer, but it's a fantastic space, absolutely amazing woodland in the middle of people that nobody probably knew about. It's just behind Switch Island. It's literally,
isn't it?
Yes.
Great, isn't
it? One of the things I found with the gardening is it's really therapeutic. And a lot of people said in the lockdown it kept them going. People who were able to do gardens, and then when allotments were open and things like that. And they loved it. And it's sometimes I find it, say if I've got a really busy working week and I finish maybe about 4:30 or something on a Saturday after teaching, I'll just pot some little plants and that and just potter with. And the expression potter, it's just, you feel dead nice. And when I plant, I've got some flowers or things like that, I just feel really nice for doing it, and I love it. And also the achievement when you see your seeds grow up. And then when my brother has an allotment up in Scotland, funny enough, on the East Coast. And he gave me this cauliflower, and it was like the biggest cauliflower of your life. And it tasted nothing like a cauliflower from the supermarket. It was lovely. It was dead tasty. And whereas they can be quite bland, people hate collies, don't they? You've got to do a lot with them. It was absolutely delicious. And the food that you taste when it's freshly grown, it's just like a different food than what you buy in the shops, isn't it?
100%. Yeah,
Sorry.
The taste and the food quality, if you grow your own produce, it's like a totally different thing. When you go to the supermarket, you're told they basically cherry pick maybe 5 or 6 different species of each thing. So there might only be 5 different types of strawberries available in the supermarket, 5 different types of potatoes. Ludicrous. There's hundreds of thousands of edible plants out there, and we, all heirloom varieties of different annual vegetables, all weird and wonderful shapes and colours, taste totally different and fantastic. Yeah. So it's like so kind of machine driven. This is get it all out, high acreage of the same stuff. It's just not very interesting. If you grow your own stuff, it's just not.
And it's like when you go to the markets abroad, they smell much nicer. You can really smell the tomatoes and things, and everything isn't all the regular shape, is it? You know, the more as you'd find it naturally, because a lot of people don't tolerate that, whereas we want it to be perfect or whatever, or that's what we're marketed at. So people buy it, you know.
And they've brought out the wonky veg bag because now haven't they, and all that sort of stuff. And it's all the same apple off the same tree, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's just one's got a little lump or a bump or something like that.
Yeah, wonky veg is great for like food waste, not like throwing things away. Even that is kind of like, it's still the same stuff from generally the same sprayed fields and stuff like that. So
yeah,
although it's good, it's better than throwing it in the bin because it's not a certain shape. But growing your own and getting local organic stuff.
Definitely. I'm not into growing things because I haven't got the patience, but I love eating it. And my uncle's got an allotment, and he gave me lettuce and radish and cucumber, and he had chickens at the time and eggs and stuff like that. And he gave me everything for a salad. And it was just amazing. It was just like, yeah. So I love eating it, but I just haven't really got the patience to go. But I did have a tomato plant in a hanging basket this year.
I hated salad until last year. I didn't really enjoy salad. I've never got a bit of a leaf and gone, ooh, yeah, that's nice.
I love salad.
I don't know if you've ever had Greens for Good. Have you ever had Greens for Good?
No.
Are they in Crosby?
No, they're a Liverpool company, and they're based in the city centre under the university, I believe, in one of the cellars underneath the university.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, it's all hydroponically grown. It's not classed organic because it's not grown in the mud, but there's no chemicals, no nasties. They're fantastic. And basically, the food is they give you it, and it's still alive. It comes in a box, and it's this. You open the box, it's a big bushy load of different salads, basil, everything. And you open it up, and they're in like little boxes with the roots still attached. And the taste of eating a living leaf compared to something that's been in a bag for a week.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
We'll have a little check out of that.
Went to see that. He told me it was brilliant. And I know we're getting pushed on time, but I just need to know something, Anthony. Where you moving to in Scotland, do you envisage having a guest accommodation? If people were on their travels and wanted to visit, maybe they could pay and stay and eat the nice food.
Yeah, so that's the plan. So obviously we are a luxury garden builder manufacturer. So Posh Pods. So we've got it. There's a couple of guest cottages on there already that are already getting Airbnb'd, and we'll just be building a few more. So yeah, we'll probably have 5 or 6 little lodges or whatever on there. So that's the plan. That's going to be my kind of retirement.
Isn't it fantastic?
Amazing.
So yeah.
Just so you know, your kids are going to have Scottish accents.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? I know.
They won't, because if you and your wife and your mum and dad are going to all be there, you'll all have to just speak really, really Scouse to them.
They'll take the accent of the peer group. Yeah. That's why I moved up from London, because my lad was going, Mum, and I thought, oh no.
Well, we wish you all the very, very best, and it sounds absolutely amazing. And we know that you'll be a massive success because you're hard at everything that you do. So we move on to red face moment. So, San, you were in my mum's group with having a little chat with all her mates on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Really awkward. Really awkward. So we talked about my journey with languages and everything. I just talked about school. It was the only thing I was good at, blah, blah, blah. Now I worked in the airlines, went to interpreter, went to uni later, then became an interpreter, blah, blah, blah. So at the end of it, this lovely lady comes up to me and she goes, and they said to me, where did you go to school and all the rest of it? And she goes, why aren't my daughters like you? They went to your school. And I went, oh, right. I said, how old are they? And one of them was the same age. And I thought, there's no way I won't know her. And I said, oh, who is this? And she said her name. And I visualized myself in third year seniors, which for younger people is year 9, headbutting this girl, a head hitting the concrete and thinking, oh, I've killed her. But she was all right. Imagine that you'd like be sent to Borstal for that now or whatever. Anyway, and I was like that. I went, oh, we weren't the best of friends, to be honest. I said like that with her. And she said, oh, it's all right. She doesn't get on with anyone. And I felt a bit better. But the poor girl, I thought, how awful. I was mortified. And she said, what's your name? I'll write it down. I was like, ah. So I thought she would have gone and go, do you know something? It was retaliation for 3 years of a nightmare, but there we go. But I just had this vision in my head. I thought, oh no. So that was a bit embarrassing. So then I said, I've got to go now. And dashed off afterwards. Yeah, that was a bit awkward. What about you, Hal?
So on Friday, we go to our breakfast BNI meeting, don't we? And we were all coming out the car park, loads of us coming out the car park, because we all sort of come out at the same time. Me and Steve and a couple of others are walking up and a car comes down, to get out. So I jumped in front of the car to stop it, because I thought it was one of our members. And it wasn't. It was a hotel guest and his wife. So I just waved and started laughing. Anyway, he took it in good humour.
You've done it before. You probably thought, who's there? Don't speak to her. She's a lunatic. Just smile. Or something like that.
I do it all the time, Anthony. I jump out thinking that's people's cars, that it's somebody that I know, and it's not.
Just don't. Oh, never mind. What about you?
Fast, so I was all right.
You got a red face?
Not recently, no. I've got a really high threshold for getting embarrassed. I don't really care about that type of stuff, really. But probably, maybe back when I was younger, probably a few. When I went to Buckingham Palace for the garden party thing, I got pooed on by a seagull on the way to the train station.
That's good luck.
Yeah, I got pooed on. It got me head. I had a 3-piece suit on, brand new 3-piece suit. The jacket, the waistcoat, the tie, the trousers, every bit of it. It just went right. And I'm like, I ran into Nero, and I'm like, mate, I'm going to Buckingham Palace garden party. Can you sort me out? So he got he sorted me out, got me some water and all that. But then I went, and it was good luck. So I went, and I'm standing there, and there must have been 1,000 people on the lawn and there's like a guard of honour with the big guys, beefeater guys, and all that, and they were pulling people out from this down the side of where the beefeaters were, the people were. There was like thousands of people there, and they were pulling odd people out. And then when Prince Charles was walking from the house to like the gazebo at the bottom of the garden, he was he'd stop and speak to everyone along the way, and they pulled me out. No, they didn't pull me out. Sorry, that's a lie. I was standing at the side, didn't pull me out. And then as he's walking down past the person next in the middle, he looked over and goes, "I know you." And I'm like, "So yeah, you do."
That's a bit cool. You third poo boy. Yeah.
Amazing. So quickly, Ant, we want a positive challenge. So something that some people can do that's a positive challenge this week or onwards. Yeah.
So touched on it before. Growing stuff, growing anything, growing flowers, growing veg, growing herbs. One of the most important things. If you haven't read the book as well, Russell Brand's Revolution talks about ways that society and everything can be changed and challenged. And one of the top 3 things is in every single study that's done, one of the things that can have the most impact on the world is people growing their own fruit and veg. So revolution doesn't start in the streets, burning cars and bins and all that nonsense. It starts in your garden. So get growing.
I love that.
On Audible right now, Russell Brand. I love people recommending books. It's brilliant.
So we're going to do our closing quote. Okay, so a mantra that you live by, but I know that you've had a few, so you've got 2 minutes to tell us a few, and then leave us with your last one that you live by now.
I've done all the work hard, work smart, and all that, and the be kind and everything else. And when you're doing it, you try it, and it works to a certain extent. But your life changes, doesn't it? And you move. So. At the moment, I'm trying to build a life for our family and be a little bit selfish, which is something that I haven't done for a long time. I haven't done that. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're not, I wouldn't know if the mantra, but we're being selfish, which is a weird thing to say, but it's all about.
Anthony, you're not being selfish actually at all.
Yeah,
because you're quite the opposite. You're thinking of the future of the planet. And you're thinking of the next generations. And okay, you might have pulled your circle into your family, but if everyone took that attitude, it is the most unselfish way of living, because the planet would be sustainable, wouldn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing. So I want to say a massive, massive thank you to you, Anthony, for giving your time up. And we wish you massive, massive successes in everything that you do. And we'll still see you around and about, which is cool. San, amazing as ever. And so next week, who's on next week, San?
So we've got Jill Wilson, which I wrongly said was this week because I thought you were next week, Anthony. We've got Gillian Wilson on. next week talking about Bradbury Fields. But also we should say thanks to Rachel because she's had to grapple with a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So Anthony could be on the show.
Yeah.
So well
so massive thanks to Rach as well. Yeah. And we'll see everybody next week.
Yeah.
Walked in.
She's come in. Quick, come and say hello.
Rachel, because Helen wants to see the match.
Say hiya. Well done, Ray. Well, thanks to everybody, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Ant.
Great. See you soon.